becomes overwhelming when you hear all these online stuff going on and you really don't realize how can that fit in. So hopefully with this, I'll show you the forest, and throughout the day, you will focus on specific trees, okay? Just to put it into perspective, and I was looking for more updated 2014 data last night, but it's still not published. Just to put it into perspective, every minute of 2013, there were 72 hours of videos uploaded to YouTube, okay? Every minute. Notice $83,000 in sales on Amazon every minute of 2013. So that puts it again into perspective, 204 million emails sent every 60 seconds. Something happened last year that was really monumental and has implications for your small business as well. For the first time ever, people access the internet more through their mobile devices rather than their laptops and PCs. That's huge. It's huge and it has implications which I will cover later on, but that is just very important to keep in mind that for the first time ever, people are going to the internet with their tablets and their phones and not their computers. Okay, that happened last year, and it is accelerating big time. If you don't believe me, the growth of mobile commerce or m-commerce, which means sales done on mobile devices only, it does not include sales or e-commerce transactions using computers, went from 6 billion in 2011, it's projected to go to 31 billion next year. From 6 to 31 in 5 years, billion with a B. There are numbers, preliminary numbers, that say this number alone already was reached last year. So it is increasing rapidly. If you still don't believe me, then tell me what's the difference between these two images. The top one is the Vatican announcing the Pope in 2005, and then again announcing the Pope in 2013. What's different? There's a lot of screens, right? So this is a worldwide phenomenon, okay? It is just revolutionizing everything. Let me talk to you about something you're going to be hearing a lot if you haven't already, and how maybe your business, I don't know what your business is about, but you've got to keep this in mind as well. It's called the Internet of Everything. Some people call it the Internet of Things, but it's in reality, the Internet of Everything is, well, everything. Things is just one component of that context. According to this guy here that's not known very much, but he said connected products to the web will be the 21st century electrification. Okay? It is projected that by 2020 there will be 50 billion with a B devices connected to the internet. 50 billion. About 4 times or 8 times more, no, like about 5 or 6 times more than humans. Okay? And Internet of Everything, according to Cisco, is a 19 trillion with a T business opportunity for the next decade. It's exploding, folks, and we are at the beginning. We're at the diaper stage right now. Okay? The Internet of Everything consists of 4 components. People, obviously, that have to be interacting with the internet, right? Process, you've got to find a way to streamline all that data and make sure devices are communicating with each other, but not only that, the data generated can be analyzed. Then you have the data, obviously, which is being generated, and then you have the things. It's not people, but it is the devices. So for example, LG has come up with a refrigerator that you can scan with your phone. You scan every single thing you store in your refrigerator. After a couple months, it'll learn your consumption practices, right? And your consumption behavior and your patterns of when you go out shopping, and it will be emailing you your shopping list. Not only that, you can go to the refrigerator and say, look, I'm a diabetic, I need a menu for tonight, a dish for tonight. It'll go and tell you what is an appropriate diet, dish for a diabetic with the ingredients you have in the refrigerator. You've heard about the Nest, the thermostats. The cars are starting to come up. Google announced about a console that's going to be literally, you're going to put your phone in the car and it will not only control your typical music and Bluetooth like we do now, it will be monitoring the car. Mercedes-Benz tried it about 2 years ago, continues to try it, but it's generating 300 gigabytes of data per hour. Okay? So all these, it's great for you to be aware of this because it is coming. We are already here. And again, I don't know what your businesses are, but try and think, okay, how can I possibly incorporate it into this universe? Another one I want to talk to you about is that graph shows quality of life or human social development and human population. You can distinguish it, but there's two lines there, 8,000 years before Christ, and you see they're going, flat. They move along together, and then something happens in the 1700s that causes that spike in human population and in quality of life. Something happened there, and it takes late 1700s. The Industrial Revolution, specifically the steam engine. The steam engine was introduced, and about 50 years later, boom, this happens. So these guys that are from MIT, they're calling it the second machine age. They're saying that just like that happened right there with the steam engine, it is now about to happen with digital devices. Because the computer has been around about 25 years, and it is now reaching a maturity where everything will explode. And what they're saying is what steam engines did for muscle power, computers and digital advances are doing for mental power. I don't know if you're familiar with the supercomputer Watson from IBM. They beat the guy in Jeopardy, right? They competed the first time, and the guy in Jeopardy beat the supercomputer, right? And everybody was saying, yeah, computers are dumb. 6 months later, they reprogrammed it because based on the defeat, and it beat him big, bad. But not only that, now Watson is being used by chefs around the world to come up with very innovative dishes. And you must be saying, what in the world? Watson can't eat, right? But Watson knows the chemistry behind food. And so it has access to a massive amount of data, and it comes up with just revolutionary dishes that you could not think about. It's also being used big time for medical purposes, where, in a rural clinic, if you have internet connectivity, the nurse practitioner, part-time, can be there, feeds in the symptoms, and then it goes out there, and it comes back with possible diagnosis. Because Watson does have access to the latest medical journal. Your doctor may have, but he may not remember. Okay, so that's revolutionizing everything. So this second machine age has three characteristics. It is exponential, okay? My smartphone here has more number crunching capability than all of NASA did in 1969, okay? In 1996, the federal government built a supercomputer to simulate nuclear explosions. It cost $55 million. Less than a decade later, another computer comes out that can also simulate nuclear explosions, but it cost $500. It was a Sony PlayStation. So it is exponential, folks. It's just growing and growing. And now IBM just announced yesterday a new chip that mimics the brain. And I'm not going to get into technicalities, but it's going to explode the capacity of computers to do analysis. Digital. Of the about 3.5 trillion with the T photographs taken since the first picture in Paris in 1838, a good 10% alone were taken in 2012. Okay, everything is being digitized, converted to one zero. Then finally, combine. This age has the ability to combine. Imagine with all that data being generated, computer power increasing. The possibility to combine and recombine ideas is just unbelievable. Okay? Final key concept, again, I'm not expecting you all to be experts, but just keep it in the back of your minds as small business owners. Digital disruption was coined by Forrester. It's basically a mindset where you've got to understand that you've got to communicate and engage with your clients digitally. Not only communicate, but listen, okay? And there's really no entry barriers. Back in the day, whole departments were needed, right, to come up with innovative projects. Millions of dollars, thousands of people. Now, because of the digital economy, there are ways to do that, and you can disrupt industries. There's nothing to stand in the way of a 15-year-old developing an app and selling it for 99 cents, right? But selling a million copies. The possibility to disrupt industries is higher, and it will be a lot more frequent. Mostly everyone has the tools to market, test, refine, and eventually disrupt an industry. That's what a digital disruptor does. So there's no thing now that you can, oh, I can't compete with Apple. Oh, I can't compete. You can. You've got digital tools and creativity. You couple those two, then you can become a digital disruptor. But it is more, above everything, it is a mindset. You've got to think that way. You've got to understand it that way. Internet 1.0 brought us the web. Internet 2.0 brought us e-commerce and social media. And with it, a couple of issues. Social media, of course, privacy and all that stuff. And also some taxes about local businesses competing with internet. So e-commerce brought a little bit of issues. Internet 3.0 is just head-on to collide with three of the most regulated industries: education, health, and finance. And we don't know what the outcome is going to be. But believe me, they will be disruptive. So as a small business owner, entrepreneur, you've got to have that mindset. You've got to realize that yes, you've got a storefront, yes, you've got a physical product, perhaps, or service. You've got to be engaging digitally. Any questions before we move on to the actual components?
Can you repeat what you said about the photographs from the first one in Paris?
Yeah, the 3.5 trillion photographs with a T have been taken since that first one in Paris. A good 10% of that were taken alone in 2012. Okay, so these are the components. If you've got to venture into this online world, I understand your occupation is to run your business, but believe me, if you do this right, you can leverage your business big time. You can. And don't tell me the sky's the limit when there are footprints on the moon. I love that quote. It's not mine, and I can't remember who said it. But that's what I tell my students at Mississippi State. Don't you tell me the sky's the limit, because there's somebody already that's walked the moon. Okay? First of all, website. You've got to build a website. 10 years ago when I was building websites, it was a little bit tricky, not difficult, tricky. But now it's really, really easy. It really is. And you've got to make sure your website is your anchor of your online presence. I know you may want to start with a Facebook page, fine, but eventually you've got to have a website. It should be the anchor. And all these additional strategies need to enhance that website. I cannot emphasize that enough, and you will see why shortly. So, of course, showcase the service or product. You can add the famous card, e-commerce component to a website, right? People will go, but the website is static. It is a one-way communication, right? Here's my product, buy it. And then heavy marketing behind it to point them to your website, right? That's old school, folks. If you're a digital disruptor, that should change. Build your website. There are tons of do-it-yourself websites that are not expensive, and there are free. The basic one, the basic package is free. And believe me, folks, if you already have an idea of what your website should look like, you can have it up and running in 2 hours, 3 hours. That thing works nice. I've taught that some of those sites to older folks, municipal clerks, and they learn it rather quickly because it's very intuitive. So it's not, if you don't want to have a website, it's because you don't want to. Another thing you've got to consider is called analytics. It's a little bit more sophisticated. It's a piece of code that you have to embed on your website, but it provides you with information that is just awesome. Okay? Google.com/analytics. I don't have time to go into the details, but it will tell you who's coming to your website, through which web page they came in, which web page they left, how much time they spent there, your bounce rate, Bounce rate is very important because it tells you if somebody comes in through your homepage and leaves through your homepage, that's a bounce rate. It means that they're not finding what they're looking for, or you were not able to capture them enough. Okay, so there are tools. There are tools there. Remember, this digital disruption stuff, okay? Then, of course, you've got cloud services. Nothing fancy, folks. I don't know why they call it the cloud, but in all reality, the cloud is the internet. It's all. You all have been using a cloud service for at least 5 years now. Do you know what it is? Email. So don't be afraid or scared when people tell you the cloud. It's just running off the internet. That's all. And it has its advantages. It is a web-based service. I'm going to have a more in-depth about the cloud and show you some applications on my other session sometimes today, I think too. It is a web-based service, increases productivity, reduces IT costs. It's available anywhere with my little star there, as long as you have internet connectivity, and it's a pay-as-you-go. The Internet Innovation Alliance, before you have this, your monitor, your keyboard, your CPU, you're querying information, you're putting your stuff, right? Today, that's before, folks. This is today. That is just one of the components that goes into this. If you have the proper login credentials, you can access your account from anywhere, as long as you have those blue arrows that are internet connections. I don't have my work computer. This PowerPoint or President's online. I don't carry a jump drive anymore. And all my files are there. I can pull them from my phone and send and do and check and whatever. And my excuse is log on. It's on my office computer. Sorry, I don't have it there.
1/3.
Save Money Internet Innovation Alliance found that if you strategically use cloud services as a startup, you can save upwards of $16,000 in that first year. It's critical. Critical. Don't be afraid to go out there and Google it. I'm sure somebody's offering a service. You don't try with your local vendors, obviously, and then go online and see what's out there. Okay? Got to speed up here a little bit. Blogging. Blogging takes a little bit more time, but it makes your business a lot more personal. Okay? You may have your product up there on the website, buy me, but if you have a blog, you can make it personal. You can make a story about that product. So it does help. Email marketing, don't think email is dead, or other stuff. So those are cloud services. And then, of course, you've got crowdsourcing and funding, which is big. My colleague Laura Bowman is going to talk about that at 11:30. This thing is causing waves. Do you use Facebook? Did you see that ice bucket challenge next August? That people would pour that thing and it would be like, ooh, good thing it was summer, right? It raised $80 million in 3 weeks. There are businesses working. You submit, if you've got like an engineering product, you submit it there, they recognize they will then push it onto their engineers. They will crowdfund it, not crowdfund it, but crowdsource it. Improve your product. And then they'll file a patent. You will be the main patent owner, and they will be the second degree. If you make it past their stage, that means your product is a good product. They will make it better. Okay? But again, I won't go into details because this one is coming on later on. Social media, the one everybody talks about. Okay? The one everybody's like, yeah, social media. Well, of course, I want to highlight 2 things. It is a 2-way communication channel, and it provides real-time interaction. And your website is a 1-way. Social media allows you to be real-time and a 2-way. And if you get a product out there, listen to your customers. They will be talking about you on social media. And why not incorporate that feedback almost immediately on the product you just launched, or the service, or whatever it is you're doing. So that's what I want to focus. Facebook, of course, it's free, which I hate to call it free because it really is not free. But I'm not going to get into that one after I don't have time. But it's still, it's a behemoth. It's huge. It's huge, okay? Then you've got Twitter. which is a real-time, very interactive. I was at a hotel last night and the internet connection was terrible. And I tweeted about it. I said, "You've got to be kidding me. I can't even work on my Prezi. Your internet connection is terrible." They responded and said, "We're sorry, we're looking into it." So why do they respond a lot quicker? Is because it's open to anybody to see your discussion with them. Rather than pick up the phone and call and wait for 2 hours, it's you and them only. Here, everybody that follows me on Twitter will see that discussion and that complaint, so they better address it. And man, I'm just surprised. I've tweeted about Microsoft and they respond within 20 minutes. When if I would have used the phone, it would have taken me, I don't know. So that's Twitter. I don't have time to go into detail. There's other more in-depth sessions throughout the day that will walk you through some of these. This, for example, is a company in Starkville that's really, really innovative. They use Twitter to promote. If you follow them, it's Tuesday Retweet is just share that post. At Deep South Powder, retweet this post for 10% off your purchase. So you're about to buy, you get that tweet, you retweet it, you show it, you get a 10% discount. It's not only for news agencies, folks. Okay? Then you've got Pinterest. This one is overwhelmingly women that are using it, and I use it specifically to combine my shirt with a top. I'm terrible at doing that. And if my wife is not there, then I go to Pinterest and it helps me. So again, it's a virtual pin board. These are the main ones. Here's the kicker though. The best time to publish is from 2 to 4 and 8 to 1 a.m. 8 to 1 a.m. The worst time is 5 to 7. Why? Making dinner. They're making dinner and putting kids and hubby to bed. It's overwhelmingly female. This one is just an example of what a Pinterest account looks like. Ooh. And Instagram, it's just image video sharing. But here's the one I really want to focus on, folks. This does not mean what this shows is, according to the ones that have the largest number of users, it doesn't mean that only those are using it, but here are the differences. Notice Facebook, it's women, mostly 11 percentage points above men, urban, rural. You see here the difference. Look at Pinterest, it's 42% women, 13% men. But here's the best thing, 30% are rural, 25% urban. So if your clients are mostly women and rural, guess what? What are you going to use? Pinterest. Again, this just shows the highest percentage. Twitter is more for minorities, for example. Well, I like the sound elements. That's good. Then finally, mobile optimization. What that means is, remember that now people are accessing the internet more from their phones. It has two main implications for your business. Of course, you can take mobile payments now, but QR codes, app development, there are very good companies serving systems that develop these apps. If you're business, if you want to do some apps, building apps, do that. Make sure you use URL shorteners. That means that you would have to type www.socialsecurity.gov on your phone, right? It's not practical. So you've got to use URL shorteners that will shrink that URL or that web address. But here's one QR codes. Many people thought they were dying. About 2 years ago, it means quick response codes. And many people are saying, well, that's past the fad, that's gone. Well, let me tell you a quick story about a company in South Korea that was the second one. It's like a Walmart, but it was second in the nation. And they wanted to increase sales without building an additional store. So with this digital disruption mindset, they said, what can we do? And so what they did, instead of building stores, they bought advertising on the subway. And they put their orange juice, their sodas, and so while people are waiting for the train, they scan and they shop. And by the time they're getting home, it's being delivered. I think this is a crown example of what a digital disruption approach is. And now they're the #1. Then finally, make sure, two things. You are already more than likely listed on Google Maps. Make sure you claim that business as yours. But two main things is, number one, your hours of operation are accurate and your address is accurate. Because there is nothing that will make me, as a customer, very mad is if I'm driving through I-55 and I want to buy some roses, I ask my phone and it'll tell me, yeah, you know, there's one 10 miles from here, and I get there, I took that detour, and either you're not there, the address is wrong, or you're closed. More than likely, if you're closed, the phone will not show it to you, but still. Then guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to tweet about it, Facebook about it, and I'm not going to be happy. So that's basically what location-based services means, is make sure your company or your business is listed and it has accurate information. Hours of operation and address. This one, for example, is a company that doesn't have a Google Maps location, or it hasn't been claimed, and this one to your right does. Look at, again, remember that implication of more people accessing the internet through their phones. Which one do you think is easier as a customer when it pops up on my phone? The one to the right or the one to the left? The one to the right, I can call you right there with one tap. Right, I can get directions and go visit you, or if I want more information, I can go to your website. This one is a Yelp augmented reality. That's looking outside my office in Starkville, and that one shows the businesses, and as I move the iPad around, those little bubbles move with me, and they're telling me where to go, what distance, they're telling me how expensive it is, and their reviews. Will your business appear here, or does it appear? If it doesn't, you're missing out on a lot, because more than likely people will find me how? Through their phones. Oops, I'm a little bit over, but well, to conclude, take advantage of web services, cloud applications, website should be the anchor. Strategically take advantage of digital platforms depending on your customers. If you decide that an app is a way to go, like I said, there are companies that do that. Overwhelming, there are social media management tools, and mobile optimization is a must. I'm almost done, Ralph. Mobile optimization is a must, and what I mean with that is claiming your business on Google Maps, Yelp, whatever it is, location-based wise. Make sure your hours of operation are accurate and your address is accurate. For example, I've used Google Maps to get here. I just said, Google take me to Clyde Youth Center, Pearl, Mississippi, took me through I-20. And I'm driving, I'm like, where I need to be? So I had to go like a big tour. That's not good for this site. There are some more resources here. Check out reach.imationcares.com/resources. And ready. I have to speed through it, but any questions until Rolf comes get us? I don't know if anybody else has done yet, but I was told 30 minutes and I took my word. No questions? Okay.
I'll ask a question. You know, when you're talking about social media, I like that at 2 o'clock and after 8 o'clock. But with the activity so high, you know, between 8 a.m. and noon, and really high peaking at noon, you just think there's just too much competition in that space?
There is. And again, you saw the stats at the beginning. That's a very good comment. There's a lot of competition out there, folks. But that does not mean that because there's a lot of competition, you're not going to be part of that conversation either. And here's where being creative and having that digital disruption mindset helps. There are creative ways for you to engage with your clients digitally. You may not find it at the beginning. It will take you a little bit of interaction, but there are ways for you to stand out from this huge amount of noise that's already there. So yes, that's a good point. I'm done.